Okay, so for as long as most of us can remember, product design has been all about the screen, right? Well, that's all changing. We are smack in the middle of this huge shift. It's creating a totally new job description for designers, one that's way bigger than just the interface. We're talking about designing the actual logic of intelligent systems.
Yeah, exactly. This quote just nails it. The way we think about our jobs, the tools in our toolkit, the stuff we actually make, it's all getting a massive reboot. Just focusing on pixels and drawing out user flows, that's just not going to cut it anymore for the kinds of products we're building now.
So, what does come next? That's the big question, right? If the screen isn't the center of our universe anymore, what is? Where do we focus? What does it even mean to design a product that can literally think for itself?
To get to that answer, we first have to really get why the old way of doing things just isn't working. See, the products we're building today, they kind of have a life of their own. They're operating on this whole other level, a layer that you, the user, can't see, but you can definitely feel it.
Just think about it for a second. When an AI rewrites an email for you, or suggests what you should do next on a project, or when it tries to figure out a really complicated prompt you gave it, that's not just a button doing its thing. No way. That is an active thinking process. There's this invisible layer of reasoning going on behind the curtain, and that, right there, is where the real user experience is being created now.
And this really breaks down that shift perfectly. On the one hand, you have the old way, interface first. Our focus was the screen. We were totally obsessed with what the user sees. Our job was to create pixels and map out journeys. But now, look at the AI first column. The focus completely shifts to the system. We're now concerned with what the system does. And our output? It's not just pixels anymore. It's logic. It's behavior. We're designing the intelligence itself. Okay, so if the real experience is happening in this invisible layer, how in the world do you design for that? Well, this is where a whole new practice comes into play, a totally new way of thinking about what we do as creators.
And here it is, AI-first design. Let's be super clear. This is not about making AI look pretty. It's not about skinning the algorithm. This is about architecting its mind. Every single decision it makes, how it reasons through a problem, when it decides to ask for your permission, what it remembers and what it forgets, all of that has a massive impact on how a user feels. It's the difference between a user trusting the system or just finding it totally frustrating and weird.
And this quote, man, this just hits the nail on the head. The design of reasoning is the design of experience. They're not separate things anymore. The internal logic of the AI is the external experience of the human. So if the AI's reasoning is clunky or confusing or, biased, guess what? The user's experience will be clunky, confusing, and biased too. Our job is now to design that reasoning from the ground up.
All right, so this all sounds good in theory, but what does it actually look like day to day? On a Tuesday afternoon, what is a designer doing differently when their job is to design reasoning instead of just pushing pixels?
Well, for starters, the things we make are changing. Look at this. In the old role, you design buttons. Now, in the new role, you're designing policies. You're not just deciding the color of the button, you're deciding the rules for when that button should even exist. And instead of designing these simple linear user journeys, we're now designing these complex behavioral loops where the system is constantly learning and adapting based on how you interact with it.
So, our new goal is to become the choreographer of the system. We have to design its intent. Like, how does it even understand what you need? We have to design its memory. What should it remember about you? What should it forget? We have to design for transparency. When does it need to stop and explain itself? And maybe most important of all, we have to design for control, making sure the human always stays in command.
Okay, so if we're the choreographers, who are the dancers? If we're directing this thing, who are the actors on stage? It's a really helpful way to think about it. AI isn't just one big blob. It's more like a cast of different characters, each with their own role to play.
And we can basically break them down into three main types. First, you've got your co-pilots. These are the ones right there in the passenger seat with you, assisting you directly in your workflow. Then you've got proactive agents. These guys are working more behind the scenes, kind of anticipating your needs and acting on your behalf. And finally, you've got the orchestrators. They're like the conductors of the whole symphony, making sure all the different agents and co-pilots are playing together nicely.
And this is the big point here. The designer's job is not to just decorate intelligence, it's to direct it. Our role is shifting from interior decorator to movie director. We're the ones writing the script, telling these actors what to do, how to interact, and ultimately, how to best serve the user.
And that means a whole new list of job responsibilities for designers. We are now in charge of defining the rules of engagement. We have to decide, when should the AI ask for permission? When is it okay for it to just act on its own? When does it absolutely have to explain its reasoning? These are huge questions, and answering them means we're embedding ethics and values right into the core logic of the system.
All right, so let's bring this all home. As we wrap up, I want to be crystal clear about what this all means for our jobs, for the future of design. This isn't some niche trend. This isn't a fad that's going to fade away. This is the new mandate.
Yeah, let that sink in for a minute. Designing at the system layer, it isn't optional anymore. This skill, the ability to choreograph intelligence, is not a nice-to-have. It is the skill that's going to define the next decade of our work. It's what will separate the designers who build the next generation of amazing products from everyone else.
But here's the thing. Even with all this change, our tools, our canvases, everything, the heart of design is still the same. It's always been about shaping how people feel. The only real difference now is that those feelings are being shaped when a piece of tech makes a decision for them. And our job, at the end of the day, is still to make sure they feel good and safe and empowered when that happens.
So I'll leave you with this question. When technology makes a decision, and it will more and more, will you be the one who designed how it thinks? As these systems get smarter, their decisions are going to have a huge impact on real people's lives. So the question for all of us is, are you going to be watching from the sidelines, or are you going to be in the driver's seat, actually designing what that intelligence looks like?